Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tee to Green podcast. I'm Kevin Sylvester, along with PGA Pro Jeff Mietus. We are brought to you by Donald Ross Sportswear. We love Donald Ross Sportswear. Some great stuff, and can't wait to wear the new Tee to Green stuff they sent us already, Jeff. So
we'll be looking good. It's slimming, that Donald Ross Sportswear.
It is.
Yes.
And you know how I love gear.
Yes.
So keep sending it, Donald Ross.
Yes.
Let's quick talk about what happened in the playoff at Kapalua. Now, the winds were gusting to 38 miles per hour.
Yep.
Putts being blown offline. People, how can a putt be blown offline? It happens.
Right. If I can jump in right away, putts, it's the hardest thing to do in the wind. It's easier to hit a solid 6-iron than it is to hit a 20-foot putt because you don't know how much that putt's going to be affected by the wind. So I've seen it a million times, and plus your stance isn't as stable when it's windy. So it is definitely difficult to putt in the wind.
Yeah, and if you're putting with a flagstick in, that thing's whipping all around. And having been there at Kapalua and played Kapalua, I played it last year right after the tournament, and so number 8, for example, the longest it played was 198 this year, 202 maybe. Maybe it's 208, whatever. Less, just over 200 yards over the gorge. The hole's named Gorge. The day I was playing it, it was playing dead into the wind. I took a 3-wood. It was playing 198 yardage, 3-wood, and barely made it over the gorge. Barely made it over the gorge because the wind was so strong. So, and then, of course, you'd have a downhill, you have the wind with you, like a number 10. I think I had 30 yards to the green on humpback. I'm like, wow, there's the win for you.
And it strikes me as that's one of those courses like Augusta, you don't get the sense of how much elevation change there is unless you've actually been there.
Yes. Oh, the walk is incredible. Yeah. One of the fun things we did, and the fellow I did it with proposed it to his boss for digital, and they did it on a practice day, was tee off on 5, hit over the big gorge to the 6th green. It's a 260-yard carry. I did it closest to the pin contest of the play. Pretty cool deal.
That must have been fun.
It was fun. When we did it, it was fun. We all cleared it. I was in the rough. One guy made the green, the other one just in front of the green. It was, and then we saw the group in front of us coming down.
Is 260 your normal carry with a driver?
Well, listen, it was down. No, it is not. No, downhill. And a little bit of wind aided,
good.
Yes, yeah. To carry all that.
Yeah,
I mean, people listen. You don't carry at 260. I guarantee most of you don't carry at 260.
Yes, that's a pretty good carry. You got to be up in the 155 ball speed, 160 ball speed, I think, to get that kind of carry.
Yeah, and few people listening.
They all think they do.
Approach 120 in ball speed, right? Would that be right?
Yeah, it's your club head speed plus it's your club head speed's about 2/3.
But what I wanted to ask you was the playoff. What I would talk about in the playoff. So you had a 3-man playoff. Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, who's the defending champion, Patrick Reed. Reed had played beautifully during the day. I mean, just was lights out, especially with the putter. And he had to wait. Thomas had the 1-stroke lead going to the final hole. His second shot just turns it over into the hay in the hazard, which everybody's like, why? How could he do this? And then after that, Xander Schauffele 3-putts the green, essentially, to force a playoff. What I think people forget is they're human, and nerves take over a little bit here, right? I mean, there's pressure.
So, Kev, tell me what's he hitting in that shot, though. So
he had a 3-wood.
I know he had a 3-wood, but it's a downhill lie.
Downhill lie.
Where's the wind?
Wind was right to left.
Right to left. And so any kind of, so you expect to peel it or slice it as a right-hander off a downhill lie a little bit. But if that wind, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. The wind's pushing that way. It looked like he hit it solid, but maybe pulled it. If it's right, if it's right at the gorge there, he's in good shape, right?
Yes, it's perfect. I think he caught a little thin too.
Okay.
Which
add spin.
It was a low bullet, and he knew it immediately. He just knew it immediately. That's in the hazard. He knew it immediately. It wasn't like, go, carry something. He just knew it immediately. I think he turned it over.
How many times have we seen players in the heat of the Masters dump it in the water on 15?
Sure.
With a much shorter club, with a much more level lie.
Look at Molinari last year.
Yep.
Ruined his season, frankly. He admitted it afterward. He said, it really just, things went downhill from putting it in the water on 12 and putting it in the water on 15.
But what did he do after that? What did Justin Thomas do after he hit it in the goop?
Well, they went up, they looked for the ball, didn't find the ball, took his drop, put it on the surface and made a putt.
Comported himself, got back.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't let it affect the next shot. Yeah, that's why he wins.
Yeah. And then they go to the playoff, and he's able to carry the hazard. Everybody made par. They go back. It was he and Patrick Reed. They both make birdie the next time, and then and by the way, on television, it doesn't give an accurate picture of how dark it is.
Oh, they can open up the iris. Right?
Iris is all the way open. I mean, it looks like there's light, but no, it was. If he didn't make the putt, now Patrick Reed blew the putt by, and didn't make the comeback, he needed to make it anyways, and he went ahead, and then Justin Thomas needed to make the putt, and he does to win. But it was dark, which is difficult to play in. I don't think people appreciate that enough of what these guys are trying to do to try to get it done and to win, and considering who he's playing against. Yeah. I mean, you've got another major champion there. You've got Xander Schauffele, a great young player. These guys want to win bad. One thing I like that he said when he's going to hit his approach shot, and Jimmy Johnson, his caddy, said, well, something that's safe. He goes, this isn't about being safe. We got to get this close. Loved it.
Yes.
I love playing aggressive. That's how you win.
Right, and he's playing to win. He's playing against good players. And that's the mentality, Kevin, you've been out there with these tour players. That's the mentality of the good players all the time now. It's not when I grew up trying to play, pars had more value. There's pars have a lot less value with these very good players right now, and you're aiming at pins from the moment you tee it up Thursday morning, because you have to go low, and you're trying to win. You got one guy to beat, and that guy's very good. So you got to hit your best shot there.
Yeah, I thought that was the best part of the audio. The other thing
they have great interactions. I love when they pick up the audio with the caddies.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there are some groups that hey, come on, back off a little bit. They'll say, but it's usually the same people each week carrying the shotgun mics around there. Believe it or not, we have to be aware of them for PGA Tour Radio because they don't want to pick us up on the mic. My point is, look at, I'm usually there before they are. If they're picking me up, it's their fault. They're pointing that thing in the wrong direction.
Who got in trouble for his mouth with the open mic? That was that week too.
Patrick Cantlay.
Yes,
about the Mai Tai and
yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right?
We like the open mics, but until yes.
Well, if you're a player on the PGA Tour or an athlete in any sport, you've got to recognize there's probably a mic and camera on you at all times. Which, by the way, and Patrick Reed had a ruling issue, and the cameras are right there. And listen.
I could imagine.
Well, they're going to be there all the time. Well, Number one, he's Patrick Reed. He's one of the best players in the world. So
he's in the hunt too.
He's in the hunt all the time. He's a player to watch, certainly. But when there's a ruling thing, and frankly, let's take him out of this for a second. Any player now. Most players, I've only seen a few that just go ahead and take their drops without the rules official, but they all bring the rules official over for the most part, and I'm talking 98% of them, because they don't want to get it wrong.
Correct.
Because of all the eyes that are on them.
Which is shocking because they don't even do the simple drops, cart path, or, even if the ball's on a cart path, they call a rules official over.
Yes.
And I know that was in the discussion that they maybe get some more rules officials out there because it was so frequent. And pace of play, I know in the early rounds it's tough to have a rules official. You have them located centrally on the golf course. And then in the final round, there's always a rules official with the last couple groups, correct?
Well, no. So they're staked out on the golf course. Okay. So they have certain holes that they cover.
Okay.
But if one's busy, then they'll call another one over. They're all in carts. They're usually there's usually 4, I believe, on the golf course. Could be 3 that 6 holes, but usually there's 4, if I remember the number correctly. And one's the senior official, but then they meet every day and such. And they do. I talk to these guys all the time because I'll ask about a rule. Hey, what happened there? What happened here? Hey, what if this occurred? What if that occurred? And I think they do a great job. With it. And a lot of times they just know, hey, this is the simple drop here. Matter of fact, in the Reed instance on number 15, when the marshal who's helping him find the ball stepped on his ball, like that was the issue. Like
that's an easy ruling, though.
Yeah, that was an easy ruling. And the official told him. And Patrick says, I can't ground my club. He's like, no, you can ground your club. You can now take a practice swing. He goes, but be careful. Like, don't move the ball. Like, that could cause it to move the ball. Like, you can go, so you'd go over to a spot further away, similar grass, right, to practice that?
Yep.
Because if you move the ball on a practice swing,
it's your deep. Yeah, there's.
Would it be an issue?
Is it in the hazard?
Yes.
Yes. Then I believe it's still an issue in the hazard. Now, here we are a year into the rules changes. I'm a PGA professional. I've been to 3 classes on this, and I'm still not comfortable with the new rules because you drew a comfort and you worked within the old rules set for 30 years.
Right.
And now it's 1 year in, and they did make some major changes. I'm not quite sure. I still think if you're deemed to have caused the ball to move with your practice swing in the hazard, there would be a penalty. I don't believe so out of the fairway.
Being out of the hazard.
Out of the hazard.
Right.
In the I think they might have changed the term for that. Through the green.
Through the green.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah, it was meant to simplify the rules. But I found it interesting that he didn't know he could do that. But probably because he's probably just thinking, hey, I'm in a hazard, you can't ground the club. The old rules. Right?
That's your instinct. That's your go-to as a player. That's your go-to reflex. You've been playing for 25 years, and you could never ground your club, never take a practice swing, never test the surface, with the practice swing in the hazard. So I still think it's your reflex, even though he's probably played 30 events. I don't know, he's not hitting it in the hazard and hitting it out of the hazard every event. It's still your go-to reflex, I would imagine, and you want to be safe.
The other question I had on a ruling thing. This is why I just like talking. This is freeform here because so many things are coming up in this tournament. So when Justin Thomas hit his second shot on 18 in regulation play, the 72nd hole, I had asked John Rollins on our PGA Tour radio broadcast, could he drop in the bunker? If he took the flag line, right? I mean, when you enter the hazard, you can take it all the way back, correct?
Correct.
It was red staked.
Correct.
All right. So I said, could he in theory?
I believe.
There's a bunker right there. I go, could he, in theory, just take that line? Could he drop in the bunker? Because the Bermuda rough, and there's a downslope where, the nearest point, he'd end up going that way, club length, nearest point, right? I mean, take it, but you can take line, can't you?
I believe so. I don't know. And this is where I'd have to have my rule book.
But maybe because it wasn't water.
We're getting relief from a hazard but they don't call it a hazard anymore.
That's a penalty area.
Yes, it's a penalty area. And getting into another area like if that's similar, I don't know if you can do that.
Okay.
You couldn't go from one. You couldn't get relief from one condition and drop it in the same condition. You know what?
Well, he's getting relief from a condition. Well, he couldn't play. Couldn't play the ball
in the penalty area.
Couldn't play the ball in the penalty. Well, they didn't even find the ball.
Well, but it never successfully negotiated the opposite margin though. So he would go back.
No, it did. It did. So he did. So there was the way this is cut out is. Let me try to explain it to you. So if you're looking down the hole, let's say there's a half circle cut out of gorge that he's got to cover, and then there's a bunker with rough, and then there's behind that bunker and rough there's more red penalty area. So crosses red penalty area. It comes back in play, crosses in play a bunker, and rough then goes back into a penalty area.
All right.
So he had to drop.
So it rolled back down the hill into the penalty area.
No, it carried one part of the penalty area that was this half circle, this kind of tooth comes out.
Yep.
And then after that tooth, there's in play area, which is a set of 2 bunkers and some rough, and then. After that, it is penalty area. That's how far left he hit it.
Okay, got it.
So he negotiated part of it, came back in play. It went back out of play. So he had to drop somewhere in that part he cleared once, right?
I would think he could, as you explained it.
That's where he dropped. He dropped in the rough. He took 2 club lengths from the red line and dropped in the rough. I was just wondering, could he take a line and drop in the bunker, thinking the sand might be more consistent than the Bermuda rough?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And as a player, the Bermuda rough is brutal, as you know. That stuff it'll grab your club. But he's going to be hitting a shorter club, so it's a little more negotiable. And when you drop into a bunker, you don't always get a good lie.
Correct. And so after we discussed this on the air, when we watched Justin take his first drop, then we noticed, the ball's rolling forward. So he aptly knew that he was going to be able to place it.
Because it kept
rolling closer to the target, and so he's able to place the ball, therefore a better lie.
Even that, they've changed that with the hazard. There's a semicircle you drop in, so it can go a little forward, but it can't breach the semicircle, so it does It's a little confusing yet, and I understand it, but I wouldn't be comfortable if it was me in that situation making a ruling for anybody. Let's put it, or myself. As these guys aren't.
And with cameras all over, right? Because you want to make sure you get it right. It's like
because if the cameras are around, I'm sucking my my stomach in first of all, so I can't be thinking about a ruling.
Well, it's like doing an NFL game now, right? I mean, everything is so scrutinized here, but they want to get right. I understand, but there's like I look at some when they take drops, like the precision they got to make, like. Come on, we know what 2 lengths is. Mm-hmm. Like, these guys know what 2 club lengths are.
Right.
Fair amount. Like, players know, hey, that's where it went in. Like, we've got a decent line there.
And that's the stuff that slows down play that the USGA was trying to get rid of is, taking out a club, putting a tee down, flapping it one more time. And that's they allow you to estimate now.
Yes,
which is supposed to expedite play, but the tour players don't.
But I will say I have had instances on the ground where and listen, these are volunteers. They don't see these guys every week hit the ball, so I'm not. And sometimes their backs are turned. And I was up near. I was about 100 yards short of a green. There was a water penalty area. I'm going to still call it a hazard.
Yes,
sorry,
it's force of habit.
Water hazard to the right. Brooks Koepka actually had hit trying to drive the green. This is Liberty National. Tried to drive the green. The ball was cutting, and he was just 20 yards short of the green into the water. Well, the marshal was telling him, "Oh yeah, you went and you got to go back there." And I'm like, he starts walking. I go, "Brooks, no." And there's also a spotter for CBS, and I go, I said, "Greg, you got him up here, right?" He's like, "Yeah, he's way up there." I go, "Yeah, Brooks, you're up here, man." And even Rory McIlroy was playing when he came over and says, "No, again, they're not rivals." He says, yeah, no, they're right. You should be up there. I go, yeah, your ball crossed right by this rock, which gave him another 60 yards.
If you're not sure, don't say a word if you're one of those marshals.
Yes. Right.
They're nervous in the moment, and maybe they didn't see it. And your angle, too. You know how it is. You can't tell, hey, did I successfully negotiate that?
Right.
Yeah. What line was it on? It's hard to tell.
But they're afraid to stand up. Actually, on the same hole, there was another player. I forget the player. The marshal had to have seen it, and none of it. They're asking us, "Hey, did you see it?" I said, "No." As marshal, did you see? He's like, "Yeah." I go, "Then you need to go tell them it's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. They need your help. They're looking for your help here. They're not looking for you to make a ruling. They're just looking for your help because they want to get it right."
And Kev, will they go to if they have the sky cam? You know how they have the big cranes with the cameras sometimes. Have you ever seen them refer to that as far as where it might have crossed the hazard or if it negotiated the opposite?
Sometimes.
Have you seen that? I because I've seen it where they've shown the ball crossing. Say the 18th. Where did it go?
Sometimes I can't give you a specific thing, but I want to say that I remember a television announcer getting a peek at a replay and telling the player it looked like it went here. Because again, we all want to help them get it right,
and all that information's allowed to be used. It's not like not like other sports where you can't use outside information or someone calling it. I do like that they got rid of you can call in a penalty rule, and once the round's done, it's done. All that stuff too, where guys are getting penalized the next day and stuff like that.
Yes, there are. There was an instance once where I was up near the green, and I saw the player quickly play in a high grass area, and I was looking down. I look up. I see him playing. I'm like, that's not where his ball is. And the caddy for the other player came up and go, that's not his ball. And he goes, oh, what do you mean? I go, I'm telling you, his ball's up like 40 yards. And he goes, I don't know. He plays fast. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now. And so then all of a sudden, a marshal came over and like, your ball's up here. And it's like, well, wrong ball, penalty. Blah, 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 whatever. So
I have a quick anecdote about that. I was playing in a tournament, and I hit a ball, and I couldn't tell if it negotiated the hazard because it was over a ridge. And I thought I found my ball. I played up. It had the markings, a green dot, blah, blah. I walked 3 steps. There's a same brand, same ball, same exact markings. It's my first time through there. I couldn't prove which ball was mine. So
what'd you do? So what was the deal?
I had to go. Well, didn't work out well for me. Yeah.
Well,
I had to. Yeah, it was a bad day anyway.
All right.
But,
So, what's the ruling?
Since I couldn't prove my ball, there's penalties, there's disqualification because I proceeded to the next tee. There was no way for me to identify which ball was mine. I couldn't differentiate. The only way I could differentiate is I knew I pulled a new ball out of the sleeve like 3 holes ago.
And being a gentleman's game,
yeah,
you took the penalty and dropped the ball, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I took the penalty, which at the time was DQ because I didn't remediate the situation before I went to the next tee.
Oh.
So, but that was the 17th hole it happened on. But I digress. Yes.
Okay. All right.
But just a little note there: if you're marking your golf balls, make sure it's unique.
Mine's
not that unique.
Uniquely, well, that's where you play a logo ball for sure.
Right.
Hey, what should people be doing right now? Our audience here in Western New York, where we're located, what should they be doing now to plan for the golf season, to keep themselves in golf shape? What should they be doing to work on their game? What sort of things should they be doing?
I see you tend to get a little more sedentary and you're not swinging as much. Movement, functional movement for golf, lunges. One of the things I found, and if you go to the Dome and hit balls maybe once a week or something like that, make some left-handed swings. If you're a right-handed golfer, turn around and make a bunch of left-handed swings maybe before and after your session. It'll release those muscles. It'll help you stay a little more, creates a little better movement patterns in your body for the spring. Also, I think I've always thought it's a great time to get better at putting. I use a putting arc that has it's not straight back and straight through. It's on a little bit of an arc. And I put my butt against the wall and I put the heel of my putter on that arc and I make a bunch of strokes. Just ingraining that path, working on keeping my body very steady, very quiet. When you watch good players on TV and the tour players, their lower bodies don't move at all. 99% of the people I give lessons to in clinics and everything else, their knees are wiggling or their bodies are moving when they're putting. And your body should be like a tripod when you're out there. You're trying to, you have a strong, solid base. That's what you want to work on. Find a little 3-foot straight putt at home or a putting rug and hit a ton of 3-footers right in the center of the hole all winter. So when you get up over a putt in the spring, as 3-footers look like they're nothing, or have a hole reducer. Anything you can do. Putting is I think people should spend about 40% of their time practicing putting. Well, 99% of the people don't do that during the summer, so make up for that during the winter, and do a lot of drills and stuff that'll help your putting. Hitting golf balls in the Dome is just to keep you loose, or maybe make a few swing changes. You're not actually going to get too much better just hitting balls for hitting balls' sake.
Someone asked me, like, oh, you must go to the Dome all the time. I said, I actually don't. I might hit once during the winter in the Dome. And they're like, well, what do you do? I said, I chip and putt a lot in the
in your basement here?
In my basement here, yes, in our home studio.
Thanks to
Custom turf, yeah. No, it's great. And I explained it. I said, I've got different rough around there. As certain spots I can chip from. I practice short chips. I'll go through to the open the door and go through to the other room and have different lengths. You have to be accurate to get through the doorway. Or
sounds like a viral video on Twitter, Kev.
It could be marks in the wall and. Just short little chip shots there, but and then I'll putt, and it just to keep them. They're the scoring clubs, right?
The other thing I think that you could do is try to work on creating more speed. During the winter, if you're going to the Dome, try to bash it. Try to hit your 6-iron, because you'll tend to get in patterns where you're not creating speed and you're not hitting drivers very much, or you're not trying to hit. So it's a good time to maybe learn to create more speed. And a quick note, you create speed by swinging a lighter club faster than swinging a heavier club. A heavier club will make you stronger. Swinging a lighter club, or just a shaft even, as fast as you can, will create speed.
Yeah, you have a good drill there where you take you basically hold the club right by the head of the metal, the driver, whatever, and
flip it upside down.
And just swing as fast as you can, like a baseball swing, right?
Yeah, and you want to hear that whoosh, that swish, and that swish should be at impact and beyond. So you're actually accelerating. Listen for that.
Do you
swish.
swing it like a regular swing?
I swing it like a regular swing, but I'm trying to swing a lot faster.
Okay.
Because if you aren't practicing creating speed, you won't create speed. And it's a great drill for kids. If you got young kids, up to 13 or 14 even, just let them turn a club around and see how fast they can swing. We can teach them to hit it straight later. You want to have them learn to create speed young, because at a certain age, those pathways start to evaporate. So you won't be able to create more speed. I mean, you can. There's things you can do to create more speed. But as a rule, you learn that when you're younger. And if you get older, you want to relearn that. You want to get back to creating swing speed. A lot of people played baseball or softball and could create speed, but then they go out there and they're trying to hit it easy or swing easy.
Right.
And I'm trying to hit it as far as I can. So that would be a great thing to do during the winter. But like I said, you want to activate your body a little bit, get warmed up before you do that. And just try to practice creating speed throughout the winter, and that'd be a really good goal if you wanted to come out in the spring and have more speed in your swing.
All right, good stuff there. So get on there, create some speed.
Work on your putting.
Drive
if you can drive it far and putt well, you're in good shape.
People want a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
How do they get a hold of you?
Jeff Mietus, PGA@hotmail.com, or my phone number 716-574-6671.
There you go. See, he put out his email and cell phone on a podcast. There you go.
Dangerous.
Big news coming too from TD Green and Jeff Mietus. So we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, it's a tease.
That's a tease. That's a tease for you. We're sorry Brian couldn't be here, but he's got a real job.
Yes.
No, Brian Colchiel unable to be with us today, but thanks for listening to the TD Green podcast, brought to you by our friends at Donald Ross Sportswear. If it's not in your pro shop, ask for it. Donald Ross Sportswear. Great stuff. We'll talk to you next time here on TD Green.